On Friday, October 10th, Putin made yet another massive mistake, and now 500,000 Russians are paying the price. He launched a massive wave of attacks against Ukraine's energy infrastructure, striking power plants across Kyiv, Zaporizhzhia, and Sumy. Zelensky had already warned Putin, if Moscow hits Ukrainian cities, then Russia itself will go dark. That warning was ignored. And within hours, Ukraine's response came fast and precise. Long-range drones crossed deep into Russian airspace, destroying one of Russia's biggest oil refineries, a site Putin once believed to be untouchable. The message was clear: nowhere in Russia is safe anymore. That night became one of the most terrifying for civilians across Ukraine. Russia launched over 460 drones and 30 missiles, including Kinzhal and Iskander ballistic types. Explosions shook Kyiv, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson. Air defense units worked non-stop, shooting down nearly 90% of the incoming threats. But those few that made it through caused massive damage. Homes destroyed, power lines severed, and families left without light or heat. Every time Russia faces defeat on the battlefield, it responds by terrorizing civilians, targeting power grids, water stations, and hospitals. Under international law, these attacks are war crimes, but Russian state TV calls them humanitarian missions. Days later, the blackout hit Russia itself. In Moscow, entire neighborhoods lost power. Elevators stopped, metro lines froze, and panic spread through the capital. The Kremlin blamed technical malfunctions and falling debris, pretending it had nothing to do with Ukrainian drones. But everyone knew the truth. In Belgorod, the situation was far worse. Sirens blared as Ukraine struck the main power plant. 500,000 Russians were left without electricity. Streets went dark, homes went cold, and chaos spread. Yet the regional governor insisted it wasn't Ukraine's fault, just another accident. Even as footage showed flames rising above the power facility, officials kept denying the obvious. Ukraine wasn't finished. In occupied Donetsk, Ukrainian drones struck a Russian factory producing FP-5 and attacked drones, the same models often used against Ukrainian soldiers. The explosions lit up the night sky. Within minutes, the entire complex was engulfed in flames. The factory was wiped out, a symbolic and strategic blow to Russia's drone production. But the boldest move came next. Ukraine launched a long-range strike nearly 1,000 miles inside Russia. Hitting the Bashneft Ufa oil refinery, one of Russia's largest. This massive facility processes more than 24 million tons of fuel per year and supplies the Russian military with gasoline and diesel. The attack ignited fires near the crude distillation unit, halting major operations. Satellite images showed thick smoke columns rising for miles. Each of these deep strikes weakens Russia's logistics and exposes cracks in its air defense network. It proves how rapidly Ukraine's drone program has evolved, with longer range, higher accuracy, and pinpoint intelligence. What was once impossible is now routine. Russian propagandists, furious and humiliated, are now demanding reparations, not from Ukraine, but from Europe. On state TV, they called on Belgium, France, and the Netherlands to compensate Russia for the damage caused by Ukrainian drone attacks using frozen Russian assets. One anchor even said, "We'll take reparations from Ukraine later and add whatever Europe has already seized." Another joked that they might as well take theaters and museums in Odessa as payment. It's almost comedic. The country that invaded its neighbor now crying victim and begging for money, while its own people sit in the dark. In just a few days, Ukraine struck deep inside Russia, disabling drone factories, oil refineries, and power plants. These operations show how vulnerable Russia truly is, and how Ukraine has turned defense into offense, fighting not just to survive, but to send a message. Escalation will always come with a price. Winter is approaching fast. Hundreds of thousands of Russians are already without heat or electricity. Putin's decision to bomb Ukraine's power grid has backfired spectacularly, because now the blackout has come home. As both sides brace for the freezing months ahead, this war has entered a new phase. One ruled by drones, sabotage, and psychological warfare. The front line is no longer just in Donbass or Kherson. It's in Moscow, Belgorod, and every Russian refinery that still burns fuel for Putin's war. Ukraine has made one thing unmistakably clear. For every missile that hits a Ukrainian city, another Russian city will go dark. The lights that Putin tried to turn off in Ukraine are now fading across Russia itself.